You're watching Most and Dan Bushcraft, and today we are sandwiched in the back of the garage again in a bit of a scheduled plan to what I was going to do. Not that that'll make sense in about 6 months when people watch this, be like, what's the guy on about? This was ages ago. But just for those that are keeping up with the regular videos, I was going out into the woods today to carry on with some things out there, but I have some stuff ordered. I'm not going to spoil it by telling you, but I have some stuff ordered. It isn't here. So not a great deal of point going out doing that. It would be a bit boring. So instead we're just going to do an absolute classic, as I've been rattling on about stoves and heating for quite a while because it's winter. It's kind of a mini series I seem to be doing. So let's stick with that logic. And what we're going to do here is an absolute classic. The plant pot heater. Now this thing has been sat on my little desk here for every time pretty much you've seen me in the garage. And with great reason, to be fair. I bought these as an emergency backup. I'll just come straight out with it. A while ago I was camping in the good ship Matilda, and for whatever reason the diesel heaters decided it was just going to stop working. I know what the reason. It was basically somehow it had just carboned itself up. They need cleaning every so often. But anyway, completely no heat whatsoever. It was freezing. So I toddled off my little self to a garden centre the next day and purchased a couple of these, which is just a ceramic plant pot and a ceramic plant pot base. Now, I have seen these before. I'm pretty sure all of you watching have seen these before. If you have, you know, you don't have to watch this video. It's probably a bit boring to you. But if you haven't, stick with me, because these are actually a lot better than they look. I was really surprised. 2 of these kept the little camper perfectly habitable, as opposed to utterly freezing cold. They're not the warmest of vehicles, the old Volkswagen campers, hence diesel heaters. Now, these things are the most simple things that you could possibly imagine. It's just a 2-piece heater, and I was always dead skeptical and thought, there's no way that's going to work. That there really just showed my ignorance on the subjects of conduction and convection, and what's the other one? I don't know. There's 3 methods, isn't there? The old school science lessons are just slipping away at this age. But either way, I had thought there's no possible way that just by changing how it's arranged that you could get more heat out of a candle than what you're going to get just by having it sitting in the room. I was incredibly wrong. It makes a massive difference by having not only a larger surface area, but also the little is that blue tack or something, also having the little turbo-y function of it literally pulling the air in. Now, a lot of when you take conduction heating and things like that, it is or is it convection I'm thinking of? Yeah, no, because radiators are convector heaters, aren't they? Yeah, okay, that one. So a lot of that is actually about air movement more than anything. So if you look at the back of your radiator, it has all of those little metal grooves, and what they're for is to suck air up. Basically, the air that's in there gets heated and hot air lifts, and as that air rises, it pulls in cold air from the bottom. Now, every paraffin heater on the market, all the ones I've got, they do that as well. That's exactly what this thing does, and it does increase the heat output. It is quite a good effect. So let's get this puppy rolling. These run on tea lights or any other small candle. Now, a piece of advice to you: don't go mad with how many candles you put in. Don't think I can just bang in loads more candles and get loads more heat. That only really works to a point. I have found there is a bit of a magic number depending on the size of your pots. It seems to be about 5 is about the maximum. Smaller pots it would be 4. The reason is what happens is when they get to a certain temperature inside, the wax gets that hot that it actually just ignites on the surface and just turns into one great big nasty sprawling flame. So don't go mad with throwing thousands and thousands of candles in there. You will just end up with a big burning mess. So for this one, I'm going to chuck just 5 in it, liberally sort of arranged around there. Light them up with this rather unenthusiastic lighter. Right, there's my 5 candles lit. Now, what you're going to need is some coins. Personally, I think 2p coins work about the best. And what I'm going to do, stack them in 3s and just pop them in the 4 imaginary corners of this big round plate that doesn't have any corners. all the coins are doing is keeping your pot raised up so there's that air gap so it can suck the cold air in and let the hot air rise out the top. Without the coins, it doesn't really work. So it doesn't have to be coins, it could be whatever you've got, but washers, whatever. Pop your pot straight on top, so as it's standing on your coins, relatively balanced. Now, it won't take long for that to warm up, about 5-6 minutes, and that thing is going to be too hot to touch. Even though I've actually, this is really a small example. I don't really think there's a limit. Your limit is how big of a pot can you find. Now they're very clean burning. There's not really any smoke comes out of them or anything like that. And as aside from using them as space heaters for indoors and all of that, they would make fantastic greenhouse heaters to anybody who's into growing their own veg or stuff like that. You know, a couple of these in a polytunnel would really keep that frost off for all your little plants you're growing or whatever you're doing like that. Another good use for them is preventing things from freezing. So if you've got outdoor pipe work, or you know, some people have water to other buildings around the place, and if those buildings haven't got any other form of heating, something like that would keep it warm enough as your pipes won't freeze. So there is more uses than just a little area heater around the house. Yeah, you see now already that is warm to the touch. It really didn't see, just while I've been waffling to you, that is already warm. So what I'm going to do is let it get nice and hot, and then we're going to find out, can it boil a kettle? Now, I strongly suspect it's not going to boil it to the point where the kettle will whistle, but will it take a kettle hot enough to get a brew out of? Because that's what really matters, isn't it? This channel is turning into the Let's Watch Dan Make a Coffee show. Yeah. But where would we be without a brew? Ooh, yeah, that's getting lovely and toasty now. Right, we'll come back when that's hot. GoPro. Right then, so it's been about 10 minutes and already it's getting too hot to hold your hands on. So, with a few more coins, because the coins are what it's all about, let's leave a little air gap. And I'm going to chuck a kettle on top and see if it can get it hot enough to make a brew. I know it works rather well as a little heater, but let's see if it works as anything of a water heater. Like I say, as I suspect, it's probably not going to make the kettle whistle, but the thing with whistle kettles, and I know I've said this before, the thing with whistle kettles is, let go. The kettle's all wrapped in a wire. The thing with a whistle kettle is that it's actually boiled long before it starts to whistle at you. It takes so much steam to make the whistle function. So really, it's ready. It's hot enough to make a brew long before that whistle goes off. So, and I know that the paraffin heaters in here, they will heat the water up to the point where it's more than enough to burn yourself with it, but it will never take it to the point of whistle. So let's see what we get with this. Right, I'll be back. So it has been about an hour and oh yeah, that is hot to the touch. But let's find out if it's good enough for a coffee. That's what we really want. Oh, look at that. Steaming away. Beautiful. Ooh. And the best thing is, just like the little stove that I use in my gym, that's warm enough. Just like the little stove I use in my gym, it'll sit there and keep your brew piping hot for you. If you're one of those people who takes a while to get through a brew, sometimes I put them down and forget. That's ideal. I'd just literally stand my brew on it, come back, and anytime I come for a sip, it's going to be lovely and hot, which is kind of the main characteristic you want from a brew. So really, it's quite effective, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm quite warm, just stood next to it. I can feel the heat coming off it, and it is only 5 tea light candles, so it is really quite efficient. Like I say, it's not a new idea. They've been around for a very long time. I've seen them all different places. But it's quite effective. Now, obviously, that's not the quickest way to make a brew. But if you use a kettle like I do, a stovetop kettle, which that one's pretty much the camper van's kettle, but I've used it for that many different experiments that it is absolutely caked in soot. It probably wants a clean, but the inside's clean. If you use a kettle like that, though, something like that, once you've boiled it, it would keep it hot constantly until the next time you wanted to make a brew. So you could just keep pretty much a constant supply of hot water on the top of one of these. So anytime you feel like a brew, you are ready for it. It's a bit hotter than I gave it credit for, actually. So guys, that's all I really need waffle on about on this thing. It's a very simple thing. As always though, get yourselves out there, get having fun, get bushcrafting, get making stoves out of absolutely everything you can find to make a stove out of. This is just a little short one today to waffle about this little pot heater, and normal service shall resume shortly. But other than that, folks, that is all from Bosun Dan today, and I will be back very soon. So until next time.